Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me here today. I'm going to be talking about a topic that might surprise some of the people in the room, but I'm very much obsessed with influencers. It's the summer. I don't know if you've been to a wedding yet, but if you have, or you know what weddings are, you will have probably been to a wedding and you have seen a lovely white dress, or more than one, depends on the wedding. Well, white wedding dresses were something very rare, almost unheard of, until Queen Victoria decided that she liked the color. And she had one for her wedding back in 1840. After that wedding, no one even considered the possibility of having a wedding dress of any other color, but just white. So basically, we can say that Queen Victoria was the first influencer in history. And for example, just so you know, approximately non-white wedding dresses today are just 4 or even 5% of total sales in the world, which is basically nothing. So, as you can see, influencers have always existed. They have been living among us for centuries, even though we didn't have a word for them. But there's still this air of mystery. We know so little about what an influencer is. What do they do all day? How do you become an influencer? Is it really so glamorous? And how is it possible that they actually get money for just whatever it is that they do? Well, I had all these questions in my mind for a long time. Are these really the new marketing genius? The world seems to be under their control. They seem to have superpowers and do whatever they want. We can laugh and make as many jokes as we want, but the truth is that figures, just as Shakira's hips, do not lie. A Spanish beauty influencer mentioned on one of her YouTube videos that she loved a certain shade of red lipstick. That red lipstick was part of a permanent collection of a very well-known makeup brand. We're not going to say brands here because they're not paying me. I'm not an influencer, apparently. So that shade was sold out in less than 2 days. And customers were asking desperate sales assistants if they have checked everywhere just in case one of those red lipsticks might have survived the red lipstick apocalypse. So that's just one of examples, but I'm going to give you an example that is very, very, well, surprising for me. A very popular Italian lifestyle blogger, again, no names, I'm not getting paid, gets millions of likes per day to each one of her Instagram photos. She now has her own brand, does collaborations with some of the most expensive clothing lines, and even young adults and, well, teenagers confess that they're more interested in her love life than on the love lives of Hollywood stars or the weddings of the royal family members. So this is what we now call the Insta fame, or to be Insta famous. And it's a perfect way of connecting with the younger audience and to make this younger audience to desire, to want, to aspire to buy things, to dream to mimic the lifestyle of these new celebrities. There has been a whole controversy on the fact that most of the content on YouTube, Snapchat, or Instagram is actually just advertising. And, well, even though the influencers just call it a collaboration. They are sponsored by the brand that sends them products, pays for the photos, and sometimes even pays them expensive trips to really amazing islands and the most expensive hotels. Well, but it makes sense. If to be in a 5-star hotel surrounded by luxury and beauty will definitely help to sell those really ugly sunglasses to a lot of people. Well, not people, sorry, followers. So everyone wants luxury and everyone wants to be on holidays, and most of us cannot afford tropical resorts. And therefore, buying the ugly sunglasses seems to be the best thing we can do with what we have, at least to have a little bit of that image of a perfect life. Money, luxury, free products, to be invited to amazing events. Who wouldn't want that? Maybe that's the reason why there is now a growing number of young men and women that when they are asked, what do you want to be when you become an adult? They answer, I want to be an influencer. Well, I just wanted to know more. Aren't you curious about all these things? I just wanted to know more. So I asked a few very popular influencers with a collective Instagram following of over 3 million people to tell me in the most honest way if some of the stereotypes that we have about this industry are true or not. So I asked them true or false, and this is what they told me. My first question was, is it easy to be, a successful influencer? Is it so much fun as it looks? Is it easier than any other jobs? And Heather, let's call her Heather, she told me, well, it's not as easy as it might look. If you are a full-time blogger, well, you have to build your brand and you have to grow an audience, and that takes a lot of time and dedication. Blogging is a 24/7 job. You share your life, so you need to bring your work home with you, and you can never actually shut it off. I love my job, but sometimes it doesn't feel like work. But nonetheless, even though I'm passionate about it, I'm working more than 40 hours a week. And it really depends on what you want to do with your website or whatever you have going on. But sometimes you feel a little bit like, honestly, like a monkey, doing like several things at the same time. But I've always considered that my site is built based on empowerment and self-expression. So I'm kind of happy about the energy that I spend on my business. My second question was, how is a day in the life of an influencer? Because, well, apart from making very pretty pictures or photos, you don't seem to need to have any other specific talent to succeed. And Ariana, let's call her Ariana, she told me, oh no, that's a complete false statement. Taking photos is just a very small part of my job. It is a job that takes up a lot of time, yes, but it's not the most important thing. What most influencers do is have a weekly date with a professional photographer, and we do a lot of looks that day. So we basically produce all the photos that we will be posting throughout the week on one single date. And if you're very creative or you're a model, you might have also a creative director or even a stylist or a makeup artist to work with you. But that's just part of what you do. You have to have all the skills. If you become really famous, it's not just because you have pretty pictures. You have to have some idea of marketing and business, and you have to work really hard. That's why I respect the Kardashians. I love Kim so much. Making money is hard, and making so much money is really hard. We are struggling. My third question was, is it true that you get a lot of free stuff like clothes and vacations, hotel rooms, workout classes? Do you ever buy anything or do you get everything for free? Monica tells us that, well, more or less. You could get away without paying for a trip or an outfit or maybe even for a workout class for a year or two. But I don't know about meals. If I have to be honest, I don't think a lot of influencers actually have that many meals a day because you need to keep in shape. But anyway, it depends on what your blog is about. I'm not a fashion blogger, so I don't know about many of the things that they get. But I'm a beauty blogger, so I get a lot of beauty products sent for free. And sometimes some designer bags, so that's okay. But I do have to pay for my groceries, which is not okay for me. My next question is, do you have any other source of income? And Ariana again, she says, well, no, but it depends on the influencer. I would say that usually you do not need another source of income. This is a full-time job, especially for the top influencers. I am one of them. And you can make more than $50,000 a year doing it full time, and you can even make $1 million if you want. It's just a matter of how much time you want to spend doing this. I can only speak for myself, of course, but when I started blogging, I was doing something else and I was just writing my post in my free time. But since the moment Instagram launched, I can support myself with it and I don't need to work in anything else. I had to ask more things, so I asked the influencers, are you under a lot of pressure to look beautiful all the time? And they say, well, true and false, but it really depends on the person. If I'm really honest, I feel the pressure to be always looking nice and not to, not to wear something twice because I know people are going to take photos of me. And I'm very proud of taking care of my look. But nonetheless, sometimes I don't think about what I'm going to wear, I just wear it. But I think that's part of being an influencer. Or maybe it's just me, I don't know. About looking perfect all the time. Well, Instagram is very cool because, well, if you are not perfect, there's always a filter to fix that. And, well, if not, you can always put something like a hashtag saying no filter, which obviously is not true, but nobody actually cares. And there's always my favorite one, which is no makeup day, which is also not true, but nobody cares. Do you need a manager to be an influencer? Heather says, true. If you really want to have a full-time career as an influencer, you're going to need a manager. Working with a management company creates a lot of opportunities and partnerships and collaborations, and brands can connect with you, and it's easier to do everything, and it helps you in terms of productivity. You can just do what you have to do and not think about everything else. You just have to work on the creative direction of your brand, and that's about it. So I think it's good, and I'm very lucky because I have a very good manager, and I got it pretty early in my career. So yeah, we'll always tell influencers or people who want to become an influencer to get a good management company because they will negotiate everything for you, and they will tell you what's your actual worth and the budget of different companies. So it will be very, very helpful. My last two questions have to do with the way others see influencers. So I asked them, as an influencer, you're not always taken seriously as a business person, or you're not respected as other business people are. And she said, well, sometimes it is true. It depends on the generation. And also the industry you influence. Sometimes people ask me what I do for a living, and they don't understand what I do. I tend to tell them that I have also an online store, and they can understand that concept better than the whole influencer thing. But I do think there's a great respect for the work that I do and how hard it is to be an influencer. And I think brands especially respect us a lot, and they are aware of the power that we have. And then finally, I had to ask them if they like to be called influencers or not. And Monica told us, well, I don't mind, blogger, influencer, it's fine. But I'm fine with the term. I'm very proud of the work that I do. And I feel like people sometimes are not happy with being called influencers. Sometimes they're even ashamed of it because there's all these stereotypes and all these comments and jokes. But what else are you going to call yourself? A person with a large social media following? Well, it is nice, but it's very long. You cannot make a hashtag out of that. So, yeah, I'm happy to be called an influencer. I'm very proud of being one. And I will just like to end by mentioning my favorite hashtag ever, love my life, bless.